Alvin Aldea for inviting me to deliver a lecture on assessment and also to our attendees in today's in-service
Sir,
training.
excuse me, sir.
Ito po,
Ay, sir, medyo choppy po.
medyo choppy, baka dito sa sa, okay na?
Ay, apo.
Okay. Again, I would like to thank Sir Alvin Aldea, the program chair for the MedTech department, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to deliver a lecture on classroom assessment. And at the same time, I would like to thank also the teachers who are currently attending our conference, our in-service training, Ma'am Suzette, Ma'am Vivian, and Ma'am Wenalyn. So I hope that I could be able to share and I could be able to contribute something, okay, in your professional development as medical technologist in the teaching profession. Okay, so allow me to share this presentation. Okay, so there are many things about assessment. Okay, assessment has so many concepts that teachers have to understand, that teachers like us have to really learn about. But as I had a talk or a conversation with Sir Aldrin, um, with Sir Aldrin, Aldrin, with Sir Alvin, should I say, with Sir Alvin, I made mention that instead of dealing with, for example, with the different types of assessment, maybe we have to focus on writing effective test questions, considering that we've been giving quizzes or even major examinations to our students in this new normal in the educational landscape. So allow me to start first with a reflection which I posted in my Facebook status, I think the other week. And the reflection was written in English and was translated into Filipino. And I said in my FB status, I posted this and I said, all teaching and learning activities have to be rooted from the learning specifics we intend for our students. These intentions are student learning outcomes, all learning tasks, assessment or not, have to be helpful to prepare learners for bigger assessment that culminates learning. Learning is culminated by either a performance assessment or a paper and pencil assessment. In today's flexible learning, learners' weekly task has to prepare them for the quiz, while the latter, or the quiz, has to prepare them for the major examination. It is therefore important for teachers that all elements of the educative process have to be in congruence with one another. The student learning outcomes, if these are well crafted, will ensure this congruency. This is the principle of instructional alignment. Then I also have provided a Filipino translation of this reflection as regards classroom assessment. And I posted, lahat ng gawaing pagtuturo at pagkatuto ay dapat nakaangkla sa mga uri ng pag-unawa na inaasam natin para sa ating mga mag-aaral. Ang mga ito ay mga bunga ng pagkatuto. Lahat ng gawaing pagkatuto, pagtatasaman o hindi, ay kailangang makatutulong sa paghahanda ng mag-aaral para sa malawakang pagtatasa na siyang pinakasukat ng pag-unawa. Ang pagsusukat na ito ay maaaring pagtatasang gawa o pagtatasang sulat. Sa panahong ang pagkatuto ay online o naayon sa sitwasyon, ang mga lingguhang gawaing pagkatuto ay kailangang maihanda ang mag-aaral sa maikling pagsusulit. Ang mga maikling pagsusulit naman ay dapat makatutulong sa mag-aaral para sa malawakang pagsusulit. Sa pangkahalatan, napakahalaga para sa mga guro na lahat ng salik ng prosesong edukatibo ay kailangang akma para sa isa't isa. Ang mga bunga ng pagkatuto, kung ang mga ito ay naihanda ng tumpak, ang makapanigurado ng pagkakaakma ng mga ito. Ito ay ang tinatawag na pagkahanay-hanay ng salik instruction. So this reflection pause, okay, would remind us of three important big themes or three important themes when we say classroom assessment o sa Pilipino yung tinatawag nating pagtatasang pagkatuto. So these three themes include the following. It includes our learning outcomes, the importance of our student learning outcomes, because the student learning outcomes would actually bond all other elements or all elements of the teaching and learning or the instructional process. And the second one is all activities, whether these activities are teacher-initiated activities in classroom or student activities or learning tasks, all these things have to be in congruence with one another. Okay? These things have to be aligned with one another. Each of these things that we ask our students that we do into our classroom, okay, has to be supportive, okay, has to be supportive for the achievement of the student learning outcomes and has to support one another. And the third is the importance of the different types of assessment, whether these types of assessment are performance assessment. When we say performance assessment, these refer to activities or learning tasks to be done by students that would allow them demonstrate their understanding or put into action what they have just understood from the content or from the learning content or learning theory we discussed to them. So these are the important things or the important themes as regards my reflection pause in my FB status. And when we say paper and pencil test or pagtatasang sulat, these are the quizzes, objective test type quizzes or subjective test type or essay test type of quizzes or major examination that we ask our students to take, so for us to be able to know whether our students have learned something from our discussion or not. Okay? So ito yung punto nung nasabing pause. Now, please take note also that when we say teaching and learning activities, okay, lahat ng mga ito dapat ay nakakatulong para maihanda ang ating mga mag-aaral sa mga susunod pang mga gawaing pagkatuto. And I always say this to my to our pre-service teachers, to our teacher education students, or even to training I conducted in the different in-service training that I conducted with other departments of the college or even in the basic education. I always tell them that even our activities in class, our small activities or big activities, we have to make sure that these things would really prepare our learners, okay, to earn a good score in the culmination of their learning. And the culmination of learning that we are referring here are the major examinations, particularly also the final examination. Lagi natin tatanungin natin mga sarili kapag nagpapa-exam tayo, kapag nagbibigay tayo ng pagsusulit, ng malawakang pagsusulit sa ating mga mag-aaral. Lagi dapat natin tatanungin na yung mga ginawa ba namin sa klase, yung mga ginawa ba natin sa klase, yung mga pina-assignment ba natin, yung mga pina-discuss ba natin sa kanila, yung mga tinuro ba natin sa kanila, yung mga assignments, participation activities, o yung mga worksheets, o yung mga sit works and others na pinagawa natin sa kanila. Itong mga ito ba ay nakatulong, okay, para may ahanda yung ating mga mag-aaral at upang pumasa sila doon sa malawakang pagsusulit o doon sa culmination o katapusan ng kanilang pagkatuto sa ating mga klase. That is what we always have to ask ourselves. Okay? Ngayon sa new normal, sa online learning, hindi naman kailangan na magbigay tayo ng maraming mga assessment tasks or learning tasks sa ating mga estudyante. One task per unit or one learning task or one learning task per week, I think would already be enough. If yung pinapagawa natin sa kanila na nag-iisang learning task per week ay talagang makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral para maipamalas yung pag-unawa niya doon sa pangkalahatang coverage doon sa buong nilalaman ng module na ini-upload natin sa ating learning management system. Okay? Tapos dapat ang learning task na ito, dapat makatutulong siya para maging maganda yung score ng bata doon sa quizzes. Na dapat ang mga quizzes na ito ay maihahanda ang mga mag-aaral para magkaroon ng magandang score para sa examination o malawakang pagsusulit. So that's the essence of what I have posted. It's about instructional alignment. It's about the appropriateness of what we ask our students do. So for them to have a successful culmination of the teaching and learning process or the instructional process. Ang tunay na guro ay hindi natutuwa kapag mayroong bumabagsak sa kanyang mga estudyante. Ang tunay na guro ay etong mga guro na gagawin ang lahat, gagawin kung ano ang akma para maihanda ang mag-aaral at para maging matagumpay ang mag-aaral sa kanyang pagkatuto. Okay? Now we proceed to these researches about assessment or about tests. In How Teaching Matters, in October 2000, it was found out that teachers tend to use tests that they have prepared themselves much more often than any other type of test. So sinasabi dito na ang mga guro na tulad natin, ang kalimitang ginagamit na mapagsusulit ay yung pagsusulit na mismong ginagawa ng guro, yung mismong ginagawa natin. Okay, totoo naman iyon, no? Usually, ang mga pinapatest natin sa ating mga estudyante ay talagang ginawa nating exam. Okay? Then another research says, while assessment options are diverse, most classroom educators rely on text and curriculum-embedded questions and tests that are overwhelmingly classified as paper and pencil, yung pagtatasang sulat. Totoo naman yan. In St. Louis, for example, we often make use of paper and pencil tests to culminate our students' learning in our respective courses. Kaya nga meron tayong midterm, prelim, and final examination. These are all examples of paper and pencil tests o tinatawag nating pagtatasang sulat. Okay? So sabi kanina, doon sa previous research, ang usually na ginagamit nating exam ay yung sariling gawa natin. Na usually, ang ating assessment ay through paper and pencil test. Then another said that formal training in paper and pencil test construction may occur at the pre-service level. So usually daw mga teachers na ito, natitrain noong nag-aaral pa lamang sila ng teacher education. At 21% sa kanila ay natututo naman sa testing kapag nandun na sila sa off-campus practice teaching nila. And 48% of the professional educators report no formal training in developing, administering, scoring, and interpreting tests. And we are part of that professional educators. Not all of us, most of those who are already in the field of teaching, in the teaching field, or in the professional education field, are not really well trained or did not receive any formal training in developing, administering, scoring, and interpreting tests, particularly the paper and pencil test. So ano ang ano dito? Then also a research said that students report a higher level of test anxiety over teacher-made tests than over standardized tests. Kung sabi natin standardized tests, katulad ng placement exam, entrance exam, national examination, national certification exams, these are standardized tests. Pero sinasabi ng mga estudyante, mas marami daw sa kanila ang natatakot sa mga teacher-made tests. That is 64%. And their top 3 reasons are the following. Poor test construction, irrelevant or obscure material coverage. Yung minsan nagugulat sila na merong bahagi ng pagsusulit na hindi naman tinalakay ng guro, and even unclear direction. These are the top 3 reasons why students do have a higher level of test anxiety over teacher-made tests. And please take note that our tests in St. Louis, our exams in St. Louis are usually teacher-made tests. And the question now is, are our exams, okay, are these exams that we prepared, were these exams are well prepared, are well constructed by us? So yun yung tanong natin ngayon. Okay? Hence, this very important in-service training for you. And considering that you are not teacher education graduates, and considering that you were not really prepared in a pre-service preparation as regards test construction, as regards crafting good test items, particular objective test types, okay, for our students' culmination of their learning in our respective courses. Okay? Teachers will be well equipped with know-how and follow appropriate principles for developing and using assessment methods in their teaching so that we will avoid the common pitfalls in student assessment. If we really would like to assess and to know whether there's learning progress among our students or among our learners, or we are really effective when it comes to imbibing learning to our students, then we also have to make sure that we craft good test items when we ask them take our major examinations. Now, please take note that in testing, in paper and pencil tests, there are two types of test items or two general categories of test items. We have the first one, we have the objective items, and the second one, we have the subjective or essay items. Okay? Objective items include the following. I think we've been doing this. We have the multiple choice. We also have the multiple response test. Okay, multiple choice and multiple response. Ang pinagkaiba ng dalawa is when you say multiple choice, the students have to choose the best answer from the options. When we say multiple response, the students will choose 2 or more responses from 6 choices or more than 5 choices. That's multiple response. Then we also have the true-false items na tinatawag ding alternate response or alternative response or tinatawag ding forced choice test. Kasi nga, students are forced to just select whether they state the answer is true or false, binary options. Or meron din tayong tinatawag na structured response test. Ano yung structured? Yung write A if the first statement, if only the first statement is true. Write B if only the second statement is true. Write C if both statements are false. Write D if both statements are true. That's a structured response. Then we also have the matching test types. And the last one is the completion type of test. So these are the different types of objective tests. Then we also have the subjective items, which include the following: short answer essay. Pag sinabi natin short answer essay, tinatawag din natin ito na closed essay. Why is it closed? Why is it short answer? Because students would just have to consume, okay, a number of lines in answering the question, or whether students are just limited to answer in one sentence to a question. That's short answer essay or closed type essay. We also have the extended response essay. Ito yung mga questions na merong follow-up. Okay, there's one question, but there's a follow-up question that students have to answer also. That is extended response essay. Ito yung medyo mahabang sagot. Problem solving, okay, it's also a type of subjective test. Then performance test items, demonstration of learning and others. These are all under subjective items. Okay, and please take note that in the subjective types of tests, this type of test would usually require us to make use of a rubric, whether that rubric is analytic or holistic. Okay, kailangan merong laging rubric when we are to make use of subjective tests, okay, for our students. Generally, creating a test is one of the most challenging tasks confronting an instructor. Tama naman, di ba, na we are really stressed kapag malapit ang pasahan ng test, pag malapit ng prelim exams, o kaya na major exams, we really have to prepare our test items, and these test items have to be checked by our program chair. These test items have to be approved by our academic dean. So talagang stressful ito kapag malapit ang major exam because, of course, as teachers, we are required to prepare our test items. Now, allow me to share to you the general tips on testing. Okay? Ano yung mga general tips on testing? First is the length of the test. The length of test should depend on the number of the length. It depends also on the length of the learning content or on the coverage or the topic coverage of our discussion. Okay, for that testing period. Okay, 50 items ba, 100 items, 150 items. We just did that, di ba? Kasi nga hindi na mo pang exam, we're only required to submit an 80 item test for our midterm examination. Because we have to consider also the number of days that we met, the number of hours that we have consumed in discussing the lesson or providing activities for our students. Second is we have to have a clear and concise instruction, okay, when we prepare our test. Third, it would also be good that our tests have to be a mix of different test types. Why? Because take note that to address student diversity in our class, similarly with our test questions, they have to be written in different types of tests. What is the reason? So that weaknesses connected with one kind of item or component or in students' test-taking skills will be minimized. So that we target the different learning styles of our students. So that we cater to the differences to student diversity in our respective classes. Mas tandaan po natin ng ating mga estudyante, merong mga estudyante natin na mas nakakasagot sila kapag multiple choice. May estudyante naman tayo na magagaling sa alternate response. May mga estudyante naman na tayo na magagaling sa essay. So at least you are targeting. If your tests are of mixed types, then at least we are targeting the kind of learners that we have, the diversity of learners that we have in our respective classrooms. The next is, we have to test frequently. Yun ang sabi nga nila, lagi ko sinasabi sa mga estudyante ko, magpasalamat kayo kung regular na nagbibigay si teacher ng mga assessment tasks, ng mga activities. Because that teacher is actually preparing you for a better score or for you to earn a good score or for you to pass his or her course or his or her subject. Pero syempre, matutuwa lang ng estudyante naman kung yung mga pinapagawa natin sa kanila ay talaga namang nakakatulong o makatutulong sa kanila para maipasa ang ating subject, para maipasa ang nasabing course. Okay? Magkaibang istorya yun ha. May mga teachers na nagbibigay halimbawa ng mga regular weekly tasks, pero pag titignan mo yung weekly tasks na binibigay niya, parang hindi naman nakatutulong para makatutulong sa estudyante para magkaroon ng magandang score sa quiz, para magkaroon ng magandang score sa exam. Certainly magreklamo ang estudyante. But if our students would understand and would find value of what we are asking them to, if what we are of the things that we ask them complete every week, then certainly they would appreciate everything that we give them, every task that we ask them complete. Okay? Check for accuracy. Of course, when we are nakikita ko ito na ginagawa din natin, ako ginagawa ko din ito, that usually we lift questions from the internet, we lift questions from books, from textbooks and others, or even from licensure examinations, we lift these questions in our test items. But of course, make sure that everything that we lift from any other resources, from any other references, have to be well checked. We have to check its accuracy kasi hindi lahat na nakikita natin sa internet, hindi lahat na nakikita natin sa libro ay tama din. And at the same time, we check its alignment to the things that we discuss in our class. Baka mamaya, nangopya ka na lang ng test question, pero hindi mo pala natalakay sa klase. Then certainly, our students would complain about that. Dapat ang laman lang ng ating mga exams ay yung mga bagay-bagay na talagang tinalakay natin, yung mga bagay-bagay na talagang nabasa din ng ating mga mag-aaral. We have to proofread our exams before we upload it in our respective LMS courses. Okay, because tiny mistakes such as misnumbering and the responses can cause big problems later, even the spelling and others. We have to check all of this. Whether these are tiny mistakes, okay, or big mistakes, we have to check all these things prior letting our students okay, take the actual examination. And of course, we have to add a little humor. Okay, usually, I put the names of my students in my exams. Okay, lalo pag yung mga situational analysis and others, I usually put their names para sabihin naman nila, matuwa naman sila na, naalala pala ako ni teacher. Naalala pala ni teacher yung klase namin. Naalala pala ni teacher yung ako. Na naalala pala niya ako at dahil naalala niya ako, I think my teacher is putting value to my presence in his or her class. So we have to add a little humor in our exams also. Now, allow me to explain also when to use essay or objective test. Ito, we use an essay test when the group to be tested is small and the test is not to be reused. If you are not going to reuse the test, okay, then we make use of essay test. At kapag konti lang ang mga estudyante natin, then essay test would be appropriate. Kasi ang hirap din magbasa, no? Ang hirap din mag-check. Okay? Second is, if we wish to encourage and reward the development of student skill in writing, please take note, no? Huwag naman puro essay yung binibigyan natin sa mga ating mga estudyante, lalo na kung mga nursing ito, medtech students ito, because they are not language and literature majors anyway. You are not developing orators anyway, or speakers anyway, or even writers or journalists. Hindi naman lahat ng activities natin dapat ay puro na lang essay. Because una, they are not to be trained as future speakers, future journalists, future writers, and others. Okay, so medyo, okay din naman kung paminsan-minsan magpapas-essay tayo, pero okay, wag naman lagi. Essay tests are appropriate when we are more interested in exploring the attitudes, okay, of our students. Okay, so ito lang po ha, ito lang ang mga kadahilanan kung kailan akma ang paggamit ng essay para sa ating mga mag-aaral. For objective tests, these types of tests are appropriate when the group to be tested is large. Pag marami tayong estudyante, usually marami tayong estudyante, no? Kasi mahirap din mag-check eh. So better sa objective test type, okay, kaysa ka-type essay. And if the test may be reused. Kasi we can always make use, we can always recycle our objective test items. When highly reliable scores must be obtained as efficiently as possible. Reliable siya because you just have to, there's an answer key, it's just a matter of correct or wrong, correct or incorrect, okay, and that is very reliable scores. Okay, the scores in objective tests are very reliable to conclude whether our students have learned something from our discussion or they didn't learn anything. Next is impartiality of evaluation, fairness, and freedom from possible test scoring from exercise. Because even if we make use of rubric in checking essays, whether we like it or not, we are still subjective when we check it. Di ba yung mga moments na kapag tinatamad na tayo mag-check at kilala natin yung estudyante sa klase na lagi nagre-reset at talagang pinakamatalino sa klase, minsan pinagpalagpasan na natin, binibigyan na lang natin ng mataas na score. Okay? That's why, if there's what we call as impartiality of evaluation or objectivity of evaluation, of knowing whether students have learned something from us, or to culminate or to conclude whether students will pass our subject or not, we make use of objective test types. Okay? For either essay or objective test, okay, kapag ito naman yung dahilan natin, pwede natin gamitin, pwedeng si essay at pwede rin si objective. When we measure almost any important educational achievement in written tests, if we are to test understanding and ability to apply principles, if we are to test the ability of our students to think critically, if we test the ability of our students to solve problems. So both essay or subjective test and objective test would be applicable if these are the reasons, okay, why we ask them take a test. Okay? So yun po. Now, we proceed to the technical quality of a test. Ano ba dapat yung sukat pagiging may kalidad ng isang pagsusulit ng isang test? Okay? And we have to move to our discussion then on table of specification. That before we draft our test items, our paper and pencil test items, our objective test items, we have to provide a plan, or even ito yung tinatawag na, kung sa performance assessment na tinatawag na rubric, ang rubric ng paper and pencil test ay tinatawag nating table of specification. Because the table of specifications, okay, anyway, I'll discuss it. Okay? Allow me to stop sharing. Allow me to share another presentation on, okay lang po ba kayo before I share the next presentation? Okay, good. Ma'am Wenalyn, Ma'am Vivian, Ma'am Suzette, Sir R.A. Bato, and Sir Batong si Let's Go. Okay, Let's Go, Sir ba ito? Okay, okay lang po ba kayo?
Yes po, sir.
Sige. So allow me to explain kung anong tinatawag nating rubric for paper and pencil test. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na rubric for performance test, for performance assessment. Pero yung rubric, when we prepare a paper and pencil test, so pwedeng gamitin ng teacher at pwedeng maging gabay din ng estudyante para alam niya kung anong paghahandaan niya. Ito yung tinatawag nating table of specifications. Okay? So allow me to share this. Okay. So, when we say table of specifications, this is a chart, okay, which describes the topics to be covered by a test and the number of items or points which will be associated with each topic. Please take note that when we test our students through paper and pencil test, the different levels of cognitive complexity, the different levels of the cognitive domain of learning, okay, have to be targeted. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Okay? Okay, later I'll discuss that. Now, what is the purpose of doing the table of specification or TOS? First is for us to identify the learning achievement domains being measured and to ensure that there's a fair and representative sample of questions appears on the test. Para maksigurado tayo na lahat ng tinalakay natin, lahat ng mga nilalamang pagkatuto na tinalakay natin sa klase, lahat ng teorya, konsepto na ipinaliwanag natin sa klase ay talagang mababanggit sa ating mga pagsusulit, sa ating mga malawakang pagsusulit o examinasyon. That's the first purpose. The second purpose is to construct a test that focuses on the key areas and weights those different areas based on their importance. Kasi minsan ganito, magugulat na lang tayo, nagreklamo ang ating mga estudyante. Sabi nila, akalain mo, isa lang na question ang meron sa topic na ito, samantalang itong teacher ko, halos 7 hours ata kinonsume namin para lang matalakay niya na mabuti ang topic na ito, pero pagdating sa test, isang question lang about this learning content. Kasi sinasabi natin na para makita din natin yung balanse, para makita din natin na lahat na tinalakay natin ay equally distributed or fairly distributed or equitably distributed in the coverage of the test or in the coverage of the examination or major exam. Diba? Magugulat ka mga estudyante, hindi nga diniscuss yung picture ito, basta nagbigay na lang siya ng handout, pero ang daming tanong tungkol dito. So, it's really unfair when that would happen, if that will happen. Okay? So, ito yung purpose ng TOS. Para na sa din makita din ng teacher, makapag-prepare si teacher, makapaghanda si teacher ng talagang test na mamimeasure, okay, yung test na talagang masusukat niya, yung iba't ibang level, okay, ng cognitive domain, ng cognitive learning domain. A table of specifications provides the teacher with evidence that a test has content validity. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng tinalakay mo, nakasama din sa test, that it covers what should be covered. Kaya nga, di ba kanina sabi ko sa inyo, huwag lang tayong basta-basta mag-list sa internet, kumopya sa textbook, kumopya sa licensure exam questions sa ating mga test. But we also have to check whether these things that we have copied, these things that we have listed, were really discussed, okay, in our class. Kasi talagang hindi valid ang ating test kapag ganyan. Now, ito ang itsura ng table of specification. Okay, for example, I'll prepare a 45-item test. Okay, 45-item test. But I have to look into it na well-distributed yung mga questions ko, and all my questions, each of my questions would target a certain level of cognitive complexity or cognitive learning domain. Okay? Ito, these are the Bloom's taxonomy of objectives under cognitive domain. Yung remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and the highest now is creating. Ito yung pinaka-mataas. Now, when we prepare a table of specification before we craft our test questions, our objective test, tignan muna natin, okay, o paper pencil test, tignan muna natin, okay, yung outcomes natin, di ba? Remember, meron tayong mga learning outcomes, di ba? Bawat topic. Okay, tapos yung bawat topic natin, yung learning outcomes natin doon ay, yung mga learning outcomes natin doon, yun yung nagiging gabay natin para nang sa ganun ay ma-identify natin, makita natin kung ano yung mga akmang activities, akmang gawain pagkatuto na pwede natin ipagawa sa ating mga estudyante para makuha nila o para mapagtagumpayan nila yung pagkakakamit nila ng learning outcome o yung mga bunga ng pagkatuto. So for remembering, for example, nilagay ko dyan sa remembering, identify, ang topic namin is about outcomes, about learning outcomes. Okay, ito yung sample ng TOS. In my remembering, for ito sa subject ko, assessment of learning 1. Under remembering, ang aking outcome dyan ay identify the different domains and categories of learning. Ito yung pinakamababa sa lahat ng cognitive domain. Okay, ito yung pinakamababa itong remembering. Kasi parang it's more on memory, it's more on memorizing facts, memorizing concept, memorizing theory. So ito ang aking objective, ang aking outcome. Identify the different domains and categories of learning. So yung mga questions ko under remembering, nalagay ko sa item 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Understanding, explain how to write learning outcomes for each domain and category of learning. Lagay ko sa items na ito. Applying, write learning outcomes for each domain and category of learning. Lagay ko sa items na ito. Then analyzing, distinguish appropriate and inappropriate learning tasks towards the achievement of learning outcomes. Then evaluating, determine the alignment of learning outcomes and learning tasks. At yung pinakamataas, marami ako ilalagay dyan, part 2 siya, 20 points siya, kasi ito yung talagang pinaka-highest sa HAT. Okay? Actually, yung remembering, understanding, applying, these fall under LAT, o yung tatawag natin lower order thinking skills. Itong analyzing, evaluating, and creating, okay, these three things fall under HAT, or higher order thinking skills. Okay? So ito yung magiging guide ng teacher bago siya gagawa ng test question ng paper and pencil test. Okay? So look at the creating. I would ask them to develop a learning plan on a select unit of study or lesson plan on a select unit of study integrating alignment of learning outcomes and teaching and learning activities. Kasi ito naman talaga, okay? Okay, ang pinakamataas kasi when they are to create a complex object, a complex performance, to demonstrate a complex performance to show their understanding or to show the whole thing about what you have discussed to them. Okay? So tignan natin ha. Tandaan po natin na hindi pwede na lahat na lang ng exams natin, lahat ng test items natin ay puro creating. Na lahat na lang ay puro evaluating. Hindi pwede ang ganon. We have to make sure that we target the 6 levels of complexity or cognitive learning domain. Kung maalala ninyo yung old dito is di ba? Ang old dito yung K-ASE, knowledge, yung remembering, yung understanding, comprehension, applying pa rin niya yun, analyzing pa rin siya, tapos creating. Pero ang pinakamataas dati yung evaluating. Pero because of the 21st century and outcomes-based education, we said most educators would say that education is creating. Ibig sabihin, mas mataas si creating kumpara kay evaluating because creating would mean that our students would apply the concepts and the theories they have learned from our class into another context, into another situation. Okay, so ito yung example ng table of specification. Tapos later, pag ma-identify mo item numbers na, then that's the time that you are to decide kung anong klaseng test type ang gagawin mo sa bawat isa. So usually, I make use of when analyzing, Okay, when analyzing, applying, understanding, and remembering, I make use of multiple choice test or multiple response test. Okay? Pero kapag evaluating, usually I make use of alternate response. Or alternate response, essay pwede rin dyan sa evaluation, analyzing pwede rin ng essay dyan. Okay, creating, I make use of essay or subjective test types. Okay? Now, bali ito yung 5 steps involving creation of a TOS. Una, yung sinabi ko kanina sa table, we identify the learning outcomes. Then after identifying the learning outcomes, usually ready naman nating learning outcomes, no? Nandun sa ating syllabus, tama? Nasa syllabus po natin ang learning outcomes natin. So you review your learning outcomes. Dapat yung mga test questions natin, akma doon sa learning outcomes natin. Then deciding on the type of objective test to be prepared. Anong klaseng test ang i-prepare mo? Preparing a table of specification now. So after doing these two steps, we can now prepare our table of specification. Then after preparing the table of specification, this will already guide us in constructing our draft test items. Then we try out or validate ito usually hindi na natin ginagawa itong try out and validation. But ideally, it has to be done before we do the actual test. Ang purpose kasi ng tryout and validation ay para makita natin kung valid yung exam natin, kung tama ba siya o hindi. Kasi for example, ang ating exam ay, di ba, validate natin halimbawa yung 100 items objective test types. Ngayon, maraming bumagsak. Ibig sabihin, hindi valid yung ating exam na kailangan natin palitan. O di kaya, lahat pumasa, pero perfect nilang lahat. The exam is not valid also. Okay, hindi naman sinasabi natin na sana walang maka-perfect. Pero it's questionable kasi kapag pasado silang lahat pero perfect nila. Lahat ng estudyante mo perfect nila yung exam mo. Ibig sabihin there's something wrong. Okay? So yung sabi natin table of specification. Okay? Now, before we continue our discussion, okay, may question po ba kayo sa table of specification before we proceed to the guidelines on writing multiple choice tests, alternate response, and even other test types? May mga tanong po ba kayo?
Wala naman.
Wala. Ito yung laging complaint ng mga estudyante, no? Kasi syempre, this is the Office of Student Affairs and Services, and usually we receive complaints, okay, about teachers on how they give weekly tasks to their students. Okay, may mga estudyante na, for example, recently may nag-complain about a certain Gen Ed subject. Ang sabi niya, sir, alam mo dun sa subject namin na Gen Ed, naku, lahat na lang ng assessment ay puro essay. Lahat ng quizzes ay puro essay. Okay? Ang tanong ko nga paano puro essay, hindi naman kayo tinetrain to be student journalists, hindi naman kayo tinetrain bilang mga writers, hindi naman kayo tinetrain bilang mga speech writers later and others. Wala namang masama sa pagbibigay ng essay, pero kung lagi na lang essay, then that would really be so tiring for our students, and considering that not all students are gifted with writing skills. Yun ang magiging problema natin. Not all students are gifted with writing skills. As much as possible, we have to make use of varied types of tests, of varied types of assessment for our students. Okay? Allow me to show a sample. Okay? Allow me to show a sample of alignment. Okay? Alignment of activities. Nagit na kayo, open ko lang po yung LMS. Okay. So allow me to share this LMS. Okay. Nakikita na po ninyo. Ito. These are my topics in LMS. So in lesson, this is lesson 3. This is lesson 3. This is week 3. Okay. Week 3 ba, no? This is, I think, week 4 already. So 3 domains of learning, assessing student learning outcomes. Okay, ito yung aking mga topics. Okay? Nandiyan yung mga topics po. Okay, for example, dun sa 3 domains of learning, okay, Okay, so nilagay ko yung content ng learning dyan. Tapos naglagay ako ng mga videos from YouTube, okay, explaining the 3 domains of learning. So everything has to be supportive with one another, no? Okay, may mga references. Then, I discuss it. Okay, I discuss the lesson. Okay, I discuss the lesson through a Google Meet. Yung recorded discussion ko, nilagay ko dito para i-replay ng mga hindi naka-attend. So all of these things are supportive towards student learning. Nilagay ko din dyan yung PDF format of PowerPoint presentation for highly visual learners. Itong recorded for tactile learners. Okay? Yan. So yan yung example ng module. Ngayon, yung weekly task nila merong exercises. Anong gagawin nila? Okay? Look at the connection, no? Yung alignment. Ang gagawin nila ay, okay, ipakita ko sa example. I uploaded, it's a Dropbox assessment, I uploaded a worksheet that they have to complete. Okay? Kompleto sila ng worksheet. Ipakita ko yung sample worksheet. Okay. So ito siya. Ang gagawin nila ngayon ay merong exercises. Ang gagawin nila kasi ang discussion is about writing and assessing learning outcomes. Ang gagawin nila ngayon ay to identify, okay, kung yung learning outcome na ito, kung anong domain ang target ng learning outcome na ito, anong category ng learning outcome. And at the same time, they are to check whether yung yung assessment activity ay applicable doon sa learning outcome. So ganyan ang kanilang weekly task. Okay. Ngayon, ang sabi ko nga, the weekly task, okay, the discussion, which is a teacher activity, should prepare students, for the weekly task. Okay. Now you have seen the sample weekly task. The weekly task should prepare students for better score in the quiz. At ito ang kanilang quiz. Okay? So ang quiz nila, mga tanong, okay, ay tungkol pa rin doon sa ginawa nilang weekly task. So which three learning outcomes examples are under a cognitive domain, which 3 learning outcomes are for psychomotor domain, and others. So objective test ito. But nakatulong sa kanila certainly yung weekly task na pinagawa ko sa kanila. Okay? That is an example of instructional alignment of all our activities. Okay? Kahit sa essay, I look at this. Kahit sa readings in Philippine history. Allow me also to share this para makita ninyo yung sinasabi kong alignment ng mga activities natin. Okay. Ito, readings in Philippine history. Ito yung mga topics ko, no? Okay. You check, for example, yung topic ko ay yung Declaration of Philippine Independence. Okay, so ito. So, nandiyan yung module, I made use of pictures also because the use of pictures, the use of videos in the YouTube to support the learning content, these are examples of micro-teaching tools. These are micro-teaching tools. So, sabi ng micro-teaching, mga small components of learning na merong matututunan ng ating mga estudyante. Okay, so may mga pictures dyan, may mga diagrams, tapos yung national, tapos I uploaded also the recorded video conference about the lesson and even the PowerPoint presentation. And then other YouTube videos to support learning. Okay, so yun yung ginawa ko. Okay, picture activities na ginawa ko to prepare them. Okay, now, then after that, okay, meron silang weekly task. Ang weekly task nila ay, it's a discussion. Okay, it's a discussion. Ano naman discussion? Gumagamit ba kayo ng assessment na discussion? So ito yung paggawa ko sa kanila. Sabi ko, you read the news article at this site, then share your response to the below question to contribute your quality insights into the discussion thread. Okay, isa lang ang tanong ko sa kanila. Should the Philippines change the lyrics of its national anthem? Declaration of Independence. This question would summarize everything that they have understood about Declaration of Philippine Independence. Okay? Tapos, kapag discussion, kapag subjective test, kailangan meron kang rubric. So, ito, nandiyan yung rubric nila. Nilalagay ko mismo yung rubric dito. Ginagawa niyo ba ito? Naglalagay ko ng rubric dito? sa assessment? Sir Alvin?
Manual, sir, dun
Ay,
sa
manual.
mismong assessment part,
Ay,
sir, doon na
ganun.
nakalagay yung rubric, sir.
Oo, Sir Alvin. Pwede niyong ilagay dito sa mismong assessment, yung rubric. Kasi mas madaling mag-grade later.
Okay, sir. Opo.
O mas magaling mag-grade later. You look at this. I encoded it here. Nilagay ko siya dito, no? Okay, ito yung rubric na ginagamit ko, standard rubric na ginagamit ko kapag nag-check ako ng discussion thread. Kasi makita mo yung discussion thread para mag-exchange sila ng ideas and insights. Okay? So ito yung ginagawa ko. Merong relevance and reflection. Yung posts are on topic, posts are reflective, posts integrate other relevant materials and others. Meron din ako communication. They have to communicate, respond to their classmates, reply to their answer and others. They express their ideas clearly with few grammatical and spelling errors and others. There's courtesy and collaboration. Okay, how they support one another's answer and others. Okay, itong siyan, yung scoring niya. Okay? Ilalagay mo lang dyan yung points. Okay? And others. Okay? Tapos, itong pag mag-grade ako, look at this, Sir Alvin and others. Ito, ganito ako mag-grade later, no? Okay, pag mag-grade ako, for example, okay, makikita ko lang dito ay yung mga conversations lang na merong nilagay yung estudyante. For example, si Gideon Adarme. So, lahat ng mga thread dito, makikita ko yung mga post ni Gideon Adarme. Okay, so babasahin ko lahat ng mga post niya, tapos i-click ko lang kung anong score niya dito. Excellent ba, good ba, or fair. Nandiyan na kasi dati siya. I-click ko lang siya, then automatic na magsasum siya dito sa score niya. Okay? So mas mabilis siya actually. Sinong gumagamit nito? Meron bang gumagamit sa inyo or wala pa?
Wala pa po, sir. Manual po.
Manual. Kaya, alam mo, nung umpisa din, manual din ako. Pero sabi ko, hirap na ako kasi babasahin ko pa, titignan ko pa, isusulat ko pa, and others. Pero dito kasi, kapag ilagay mo na yung rubric, tapos pwede mo siyang i-save dun sa library mo, yung rubric mo. Tapos pwede mo lang siyang i-copy na lang later kapag gusto mo siyang gamitin. Kaya ito, I usually save my learning conversation rubric sa aking library para may copy ko na lang sa lahat ng mga iba pang mga discussion assessment. Discussion assessment. Okay? So, allow me to demonstrate kung paano nyo gagawin. Gusto nyo ba i-demonstrate ko kung paano?
Sige po, sir.
Sige, demonstrate natin. Halimbawa, magdagdag ako ng assessment. Okay? Magdagdag ako ng assessment. Halimbawa, add. So, halimbawa, sabihin ko discussion. Okay, so siyempre, halimbawa, lang siya, learning conversation, halimbawa. Learning conversation. Ganyan lang siya. Tapos sabihin, kasi yung rubric ko, 20 points lang kasi siya. So, 20 points lang siya. Tapos, maglagay ako ng participation. Halimbawa, mag-start tayo ngayon. Okay, anyway, alam naman ninyo kung paano gawin ito, no? 31. Sige, halimbawa lang naman. Definite ko na lang later. Then, siyempre, alam nyo niya. Halimbawa, explain, answer the question below. What is the purpose of POS? What is the purpose of POS? Halimbawa, ganyan ang tanong, no? Save natin siya. Tapos punta tayo dito. So, nandiyan na siya, no? Punta tayo dito sa use rubric. Okay? So, click natin sa use rubric. Then after that, kapag meron sa library natin, pwede lang ito, library click natin. Pero pag wala pa tayong rubric sa library, pwede tayong maglagay ng new. Okay? New. So, dito mo ita-type yung criteria mo. Okay? Ita-type mo yung criteria mo. Halimbawa, sabihin mo ng content. Okay? Describe mo kung ano yung content. Okay? For example, the question is clearly answered. The question is correctly answered. I-type mo dyan, correctly answered. Okay? So, lagay mo dyan. Tapos, pwede kang maglagay pa ng panibawang criterion. For example, communication. Okay? Responses, the answer triggered, for example, the answer triggered, ano ba? Three, wala ba ito yung spelling ko? Sorry. Triggered other students to respond. Other students to respond. Halimbawa ganyan, students to respond. So, halimbawa ganyan, tapos pwede kang maglagay ng points sa dito. Okay, for example, ilagay mo dyan ay 10 points lang siya. Tapos automatic na i-distribute niya yung score dito. Okay? Tapos ito naman, halimbawa sabihin natin 5 points lang siya. Okay, automatic i-distribute niya yung 5 points dito. Tapos kung kulang pa, for example, magdagdag pa tayo, we just have to click add criterion. Magdagdag tayo halimbawa ng panibagong criteria. Anong panibagong criterion? Halimbawa, grammar. Okay? Answer and responses to others post and responses to others post are written are free from grammatical lapses. Okay. So sabihin natin na ito rin ay 5 points lang din siya. Okay, 5 points. So i-distribute na rin dito. Tapos pwede nyo i-describe na ito. Pwede lagyan yung description, pwede hindi din. Encode nyo dyan. Tapos tapos i-save lang ninyo dito sa baba. Save lang ninyo dito, save. Okay, so automatic kapag mag-upload sila ng document, pag Dropbox assessment ang gagamitin ninyo, yung Dropbox yung mag-upload sila, automatic mag-view mo yung sagot nila, yung Word template mismo, tapos yung rubric sa site, tapos pwede mo na siyang score and click na lang yung kanilang score. Okay? O di kaya naman, halimbawa, hindi ka na magdadagdag ka use rubric, pero magla-library ka kasi meron ka na na-save na dating rubric, i-click mo si library, tapos i-check mo na lang dito, meron kasi ako library nilagay ko siya sa professional education, professional development. O, yan dyan na yung aking mga learning conversation rubric. I-click ko na lang siya, then submit, then leave. Then automatic lalabas na dito yung rubric na ginawa ko dati. Okay? So, ganun po. So, pwede kayong gumamit ng rubric kaagad doon sa assessment. Nasa mag-click-click na lang kayo ng score nila. Mas madali po iyon. Okay? So, that's it. Now, we now proceed to, okay na po ba? May mga tanong po ba? Wala naman. Okay.
Wala naman po, sir. First time namin yun, sir.
Okay lang, para lang sa ganun makita din niyo kung paano. Kasi sayang din yung at least later i-save niyo sa library niyo yung mga ilalagay niyo rubric doon para at least pwede niyo pa rin siyang ma-list na lang later kapag meron pa kayong the same activities or the same assessment activities. Okay? Now, we continue our discussion a while back on guidelines na tayo, no? Here. Okay, we now proceed to the guidelines in creating or drafting multiple choice test items. Okay. Usually ba multiple choice sa mga test ninyo?
Yes po, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
So these guidelines would help us, no? Okay. Una, when possible, state the stem. When we say the stem, we are referring to the question. Okay? Pag sinabi natin alternative, we're referring to the choices. Okay, yung kasi ang terms din sa assessment. So when possible, state the stem as a direct question rather than as an incomplete statement. So please, ito usually mali natin ito, nakikita ko ito lagi. Yung meron tayong mga statements na for example, ito, undesirable ito. This is not right. Alloys are ordinarily produced by blank. This is not right. If you can convert it into a direct question, then we have to do it. Okay? For example, desirable is, how are alloys ordinarily produced? Okay? So usually common mistake natin ito. Okay? The second guideline is, present a definite, explicit, and singular question or problem in the stem or in the question. Ito, this is so undesirable. Psychology, blank, blank, blank. This is undesirable. Okay? Kasi maraming pwedeng sagot dito. Tama? Maraming pwedeng sagot dito. Actually, ito undesirable pa siya. Bakit siya undesirable? itong desirable nilagay ito. Bakit undesirable pa rin? Because it is not stated in a direct question. So, how to convert that into direct question? What refers to the science of mind and behavior? Okay, so that's it. Number 2, we eliminate excessive verbiage or irrelevant information from the stem. Okay, so if we can make it a simple question, a simple statement, then we have to do so. For example, ito, undesirable. Sabi niya, while ironing her formal, Jane burned her hand accidentally on the hot iron. This was due to the transfer of heat between. Oh, this is so undesirable. Maliban sa hindi direct question, okay, meron pa siya mga excessive verbiage or irrelevant information. Na pwede namang ang tanong na lang niya ay, which of the following ways of heat transfer explains why Jane's hand was burned after she touched a hot iron? Kailangan ko bang sabihin na while Jane is ironing her formal attire? Napaka-irrelevant ito. Kasi ang purpose lang naman natin is to check kung ano yung heat transfer na tinatawag natin. Okay? Next guideline. Include in the stem any word that might otherwise be repeated in its alternative. For example, this one, this is undesirable. In national elections in the United States, the president is officially blank, chosen by. So, na-repeat ng mga chosen by no word na ito. So, dapat, tanggalin na natin siya dyan, lagay na natin siya dito sa my stem. Pero this desirable example, this is still undesirable. Why is it undesirable? Again, yung first guideline natin, it is not stated in a direct question. So, pwede natin sabihin na, para natin i-rephrase yan. Anyone who would like to rephrase this in a direct question? Okay, para natin rephrase yan. Yeah. Yes, Sir Alvin.
In which way, in the United States, the president is officially chosen in national elections? Basta in which way, ganun po.
Okay, kung in which way siya, so dapat ang options natin processes, tama? Pero hindi kasi process yung options natin. Okay, so paano natin gagawin ito? We are referring to to members, to people, di ba? We're referring to people here. So pwede siguro na in the United States national elections, who officially choose the president? Okay, in the U.S. national elections, who usually choose, okay, the president? Okay, so the answer is the people, members of Congress, the House of Representatives, the Electoral College. So pwede iyon. Okay, so as much as possible, we convert it into a direct question, not a statement or a sentence completion type. Okay, next one. Use negatively stated stems sparingly. When used, underline and or capitalize the negative word. Ito, for example, may negative word na not. So, ang rule natin, ang guideline natin is we have to capitalize it, we have to underline it. So, mas appropriate say, which of the following is not? Okay, all in upper cases. Cited as an accomplishment of the Kennedy administration. So, all negative words, not, except, okay, these are all negative words, okay? So we have to highlight it, or we have to underline it, or capitalize them when we use it in the stem. Second, and next, make all alternatives plausible and attractive to the less knowledgeable or skillful student. Okay, anong sagot dito? This is undesirable. What process is most nearly the opposite of photosynthesis? Anong sagot dito? Ako hindi ko alam. Anong sagot dito? Kayo mas mas science inclined kayo. Anyone?
The photosynthesis?
Di po. Joke lang.
Opposite daw. What process is most nearly the opposite of photosynthesis?
Catabolism? Catabolism, sir.
Okay, good. Catabolism. Tama naman yan, sinasagot ko eh. So, tama tayo. Okay, sinasagot natin. Pero feeling ko yan nasagot. Kasi naging opposite siya kasi nga, ano bang photosynthesis? production, di ba? Of energy, no?
Opo.
Okay. So there's production. Ang catabolism kasi there is
Consumption.
consumption or release, tama?
Opo.
Release. So, kabaliktaran siya. Pero, this is so undesirable. Why? Because catabolism is not the common term. Tama? This is not a common term for example, for science, for non-science majors. Tama? Hindi siya common sa kanila. So, kaya pinalitan siya sa desirable, pinalitan siya ng exertion to make it more common. Para nang sa doon, may appeal pa rin si test, okay, dun sa less knowledgeable or even skillful students. Okay? Next, make the alternatives or choices mutually exclusive. O, tingnan mo yan. 1 to 2 glasses, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Ano kayo pipiliin ko dyan? Sabihin mo si Jado, 1 to 2 ito, 2 to 3 ito, 3 to 4 iyon, at least 4 glasses. So, we have to make it this way. Okay? We make it this way. To make it to make it exclusive. To make the choices exclusive. Make alternatives approximately equal in length. So as much as possible, yung ating mga choices, dapat halos magkakahaba sila. Halos magkakasing haba. Huwag yung merong option na isang word lang, merong option na 2 words, merong option na sentence, merong option sa paragraph. Hindi po pwede iyon when we create our multiple choice test item. Tama to, oh. Okay, malinaw yung stem niya, mali pa yung kanyang alternative. So, to check it, better yung ganito. Okay? Sorry, nasabi na natin yan. Okay, so any question on multiple choice before we continue? May tanong po ba kayo sa multiple choice construction?
None so far naman, sir.
May mga violations ba tayo kung nakikita natin?
Yes, sir.
May mga common violations, no? Okay. So, ganun po, no, pag mag-test, pag mag-construct tayo. Pero syempre, tignan din natin na yung mga questions natin sa multiple choice. Again, yung table of specification. Okay, wag lang puro what. Okay, what is, what refers to. Wag lang puro ganun, no? As much as possible, we have to promote the 6 levels of cognitive complexity. The 6 levels of cognitive domain. Meron pa rin remembering, may understanding, merong analyzing, merong applying, merong evaluating, at meron pa rin creating dapat doon sa ating mga questions. Okay? So, we continue now. Nagpapa-true-false test ba kayo?
Minsan, sir.
Minsan. Okay. So, tignan naman natin si si true-false. Kasi baka mamaya pag alam na ninyo, baka pwedeng gawin na rin ninyo para meron kayong mixed type of test in your major examination. Kasi hindi rin maganda na puri multiple choice test tayo. Kasi una, sabi ko nga, may mga bata na mahina sa multiple choice. May mga bata na kahit mahina sa multiple choice, magaling naman siya sumagot ng true-false statements or even matching test types. Okay? So, tignan natin yung mga iba pang test items. We now proceed to true-false test. Okay, ang true-false test po ay tinatawag din siyang forced choice test, alternate response test, or alternative response test. Ito yung mga guidelines naman. We have to base our true-false statements upon statements that are absolutely true or false without qualifications or exemptions. For example, sinabi mo dyan, nearsightedness is hereditary in origin. Pag sinagot ko ito, it's neither false or true. Tama? Tama ho ba? Nearsightedness is hereditary in origin. If I would ask you answer that, pwede mo ba siyang sagutin na true at false? O yung iba naman mag-recite. Pasensya na. O yung iba mag-recite naman. Sa tingin po ninyo, pwede sagutin na true at false itong tanong na ito? Anyone? Or what is the answer here? May participants pa tayo, Sir Alvin, no?
Meron, sir.
Okay. O, sige, sino sa kanila pwede sumagot nito? Pwede pa natin sagutin na true or false ito, tong item na ito, tong statement na ito. Nearsightedness is hereditary in origin. Wala sa dalawa, no?
Di rin namin alam, sir.
Okay. Wala sa dalawa kasi this is an opinionated statement. Tama? Opinionated or debatable statement. Kasi si nearsightedness, pwede rin naman siyang acquired. Tama? Yung kalabuan ng mata to, di ba?
Yes, sir.
O, di ba pwede itong acquired?
Yes,
Pwede
sir.
hereditary din. So, neither true or false. So, hindi siya undesirable siya for a true-false item. So, to make it desirable, we say, geneticists and eye specialists believe that the predisposition to nearsightedness is hereditary. So, nilagyan natin siya ng enough background information. Kasi, for example, kung sinabi ko dyan halimbawa, homosexuality is hereditary in origin. True or false ba yan? Pwede ba siyang true? Pwede ba siyang false? Hindi, tama? Pag sinabi ko homosexuality is hereditary in origin, hindi rin. Kasi, okay, kasi nga, hindi siya absolutely true, hindi rin siya absolutely false. So when we provide a statement, a true-false statement in a test, we have to make sure na absolutely true lang siya or absolutely false siya. Hindi pwede na debatable ang nasabing statement. Okay, so that's the first consideration. The second is, express the item statement as simply and as clearly as possible. In a true-false statement, as much as possible, yung sentence natin simple sentence lang. One subject, one predicate is enough. Hindi pwede yung ang haba-haba pa ng sinabi natin, hindi pwede na ang statement natin ay complex sentence. Okay? For example, this one. Okay? This is a complex sentence. Okay? So sabihin natin na one subject lang, one predicate lang, or a simple sentence ang dapat in a true-false test item. Okay? Next, express a single idea in each item test. For example, ito. Okay? Desirable. Single idea lang po tayo. Hindi pwede na, for example, sinabi mo dyan na water will boil at a higher temperature if the atmospheric pressure on its surface is increased and more heat is applied to the container. So, this is a complex sentence. Okay? Pero we have to make use only of one subject and one predicate for a simple sentence when we do true-false test items. Water will boil at a higher level temperature if the atmospheric pressure on its surface is increased. So that's how simple it is. Okay? Include enough background information and qualifications so that the ability to respond correctly to the item does not depend on some special or uncommon knowledge. Ito, the second principle of education is that the individual gathers knowledge. This, I think, questionable and desirable. Why? Because what do you mean by second principle of education? Ang daming mga principles of education. So we have to provide enough background about it to make it desirable. According to John Dewey, because it was John Dewey who proposed the second principle of education, is that the individual gathers knowledge. So we have to provide background information about the true-false statements that we put in our test. Then, bawal pong gamitin ang bawal pong gumamit ng all or ng any extreme modifiers. Ulitin ko po, kapag meron tayong mga true-false questions, bawal pong gamitin ang mga ito. Okay? Bawal sabihin na all, none, always, never, only, nobody, invariably, no one, best, absolute, worst, absolutely not, everybody, certainly, everyone, certainly not. Bawal gamitin po yan sa true-false test items. And even these qualifiers. Usually, frequently, often, sometimes, some, seldom, bawal din pong gamitin. Bakit bawal gamitin? Kasi nga,
Magkaka-idea na sila, sir.
correct. Very good, Sir Alvin. Magkaka-idea sila kung true or false ang sagot. Okay, very good. Then, avoid, ito pa. Ginagawa natin usually ito. Kaya nga sabi natin, no, sa lahat ng objective test type, ang pinakamadaling gawin daw ay ang true-false. Bakit madaling gawin? Kasi marami sa atin na kinokopya na lang kung paano na state. is how the statement is being stated in our references. Yung copy-paste na lang, no, ng mga statements. Okay, konting edit. But actually, we have to avoid lifting statements from the text or lecture or other materials so that memory alone will not permit a correct answer. Ito, for example, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. Laging binabanggit ito, no, lifted from the text, lifted from books, lifted from textbooks. And to make it desirable, we say, if you were to stand in a canoe and throw a life jacket forward to another canoe, chances are your canoe would jerk backward. This is an example of true-false statement that targets evaluation as one of the 6 levels of cognitive complexity. Or, actually, hindi lang evaluation, also application of this concept. Okay? So, do not just list statements from textbooks or from internet or from resources. Kung pwede, gawa ka ng sarili mong sentence about what you have understood from the text or from the textbook. Avoid using negatively stated items. Bawal po yung the Supreme Court is not composed of 9 justices. If in a multiple choice, kailangan lang natin i-highlight, kailangan lang natin i-caps lock, kailangan lang natin i-underline yung negative statement. Sa true-false statements, bawal gumamit ng negatively stated items. So better say the Supreme Court is composed of 9 justices. Bawal ang not. Bawal ang negatively stated statement. Avoid the use of unfamiliar vocabulary. Remember that you are not, kung kapag med-text kayo, hindi naman ninyo dinedevelop ang vocabulary building skills ng estudyante ninyo, o vocabulary skills ng estudyante ninyo. So do not make use of unfamiliar vocabulary. You just make use of familiar vocabulary when you create true-false items. Katulad niya, raison d'être. Okay? Ang ibig pang sabihin niyan is justification. So better make use of justification than using this one because this is so unpopular or unfamiliar. Okay? Avoid tricky statements with some minor misleading words. Okay, for example, yan the brain of the Katipunan is Emil Jacinto. Tinanggal mo lang si I.O. Emilio Jacinto. This is not a good true-false statement. Wag yung wrong spelling lang ninyo ang statement para sabihin false, bawal po iyon. So better you say the brain of the Katipunan is Emilio Jacinto. Avoid double negatives also in true-false tests. For example, the changes that take place in early childhood are not unchangeable. This would confuse our learners. For example, this one, not unchangeable. Double negative. Unchangeable is negative, not is negative. Ginamit mo siya, so better say, the changes in early childhood are changeable. Mas better, mas okay si double positive than double negative in a true-false statement. Okay? Remember also that make sure that your questions in a true-false item should really be appropriately answered by true or false. Yun yung sabi natin kanina, kasi baka mamaya debatable naman siya, baka mamaya question mark ang sagot, hindi true or false. Kasi nga debatable or opinionated yung nilagay mong statement doon sa nasabing test. Arrange the statement so that there is no discernible pattern of answers. Huwag yung lagyan nyo ng pattern ha, bawal ito. Malala ko merong faculty ng SEAS noon na natanggal dahil dito. Akalain mo meron siyang pattern ng mga sagot doon sa kanyang objective test type. Okay? For example, nagpa-test siya tapos lahat true. Nagpa-test siya lahat false. Bawal po iyon. Okay? And please do not make use of a certain pattern kasi pag mahulaan ng pattern, okay, the exam would not conclude, would no longer be reliable when it comes to concluding whether our students learn something or not. Kasi pag mahulaan nila ang pattern, hindi nila sila magbabasa yan. Gagawin na lang nila yung pattern. So, avoid patterns, ha? Avoid the tendency to add details in true statements to make them more precise. The answers should not be obvious in true-false tests. Okay? So far, yun pa lang ang aking may babahagi sa inyo, okay, about test questions. Yung dalawa lang muna, no? Multiple choice test, kasi hanggang 12 lang tayo. Multiple choice test and that of the true-false item. Now, with the remaining time, 5 minutes, I would like you to ask questions, any clarificatory question, or any clarificatory questions or any clarification that you would like to ask, or anything that you would like to ask about assessment.
Ay, ma'am, sir, may gusto ba kayong itanong kay Sir Herbert?
Si JR, baka may tanong. Ayan, si Let's Go daw. Si ma'am ba to, sir? Si Let's Go.
Sir Joby, sir.
Ano to, sir? Sir, let's go. Yes po?
Pagka yung sa multiple choice ba, sir, okay lang na ina-incorporate dun yung true or false? Kasi yung madalas po na, yung
Sir?
madalas ko po na, hello po.
Yes po.
Yung madalas ko po kasing ginagawa, yung merong two statements, tapos yung choices po, only is correct, both are correct, both.
Yeah, that is
Okay
a
lang.
structured response. Pwede, yung mga principles, yung mga guidelines, sir, doon sa true-false items, dapat i-follow pa rin siya when we create questions under structured response test. Yung sinasabi po ninyo is structured response po ang tawag doon. Yung right A, if the first statement is true, right B, if the second statement is true, that is an example of true-false items, a true-false test, pero ginawa lang natin ng variation at ginawa natin siyang structured. Ang tawag po dyan ay structured response test. But still, the different statements that we put in that kind of test should still adhere to the guidelines in constructing true-false test items.
Okay, thank you po, sir.
Opo.
May tanong pa po ba, ma'am, sir?
Si Sir JR ata nag-unmute siya, may tanong po. Sir
Ay,
JR? Si Sir JR, graduate natin to, no?
Yes, sir.
po. Wala po akong tanong, sir.
Wala kang tanong. Okay, sige.
Opo.
Okay, sige. About the others, baka meron kayong gustong i-clarify.
Ma'am, sir, may gusto ba kayong itanong pa kay sir?
Wala na po.
Wala na. Okay. So I hope na meron kayong natutunan, no? And I hope na meron kayong natutunan at na-improve pa yung pag-unawa ninyo tungkol sa pagtatasang pagkatuto, okay, tungkol sa classroom assessment. And I really hope na lalo na sa ating lalo sa ating mga estudyante, ang mga estudyante natin, they will not complain naman if they find value into what we ask them do. Lalo na kapag yung lahat na pinapagawa natin sa kanila makatutulong para na sa ganun maipasa nila ang ating mga subject sa kanila. Okay, feeling ko wala namang reklamo mga estudyante kapag nakita nila yung kahalagahan ng mga weekly tasks na pinapagawa natin sa kanila. That's why it's really good, it's really better that we keep learning and we keep improving the way we keep improving our weekly tasks that we provide our learners, and that at the same time dapat talaga ay align lahat ng mga bagay-bagay na ginagawa natin para may handa yung ating mga mag-aaral para sa kanilang pagkapasa o para mapagtagumpayan nila ang ating subject sa kanila. Okay? So if you have questions later, I'm reachable naman through my Facebook, no? Through Messenger and others. You can just message me if you have concerns, if you have clarifications and others. Alam ko yung mga iba siguro nahihiya lang, pero wag po kayong mag-alala. Kung nahihiya kayo ngayong araw, wag kayong mahiya sa sunod na araw. Just have to message me in my Facebook, in the Messenger, if you have concerns, if you have clarifications. Okay, Sir Alvin?
So, thank you so much, sir. Sir, in behalf of the MedTech Department, very grateful kami dun sa time na na-share mo sa amin, especially na hindi kami talaga teachers. So, ang training namin, sir, is more of technical. So, malaking tulong sa amin to such that mas ma-engage saka mas ma-measure namin kung natututunan ba ng mga students yung mga pinagtuturo namin, sir. At everyone, may we give Sir Herbert a round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. Sir,
Thank you po.
yung
Thank you, sir.
certificate nyo is on processing po. Ibigay ko na lang po sa inyo personally.
No problem. Nandito lang naman ako sa TV.
Opo.
Okay.
So for our closing prayer, may we have Ma'am Wenalyn.
Yes, sir. So all together, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Thank you, Lord, for a successful seminar. We know that you have blessed us, hence this success. May you keep blessing us and apply we have learned in our profession. Grant that we do this fully aware that it is not for ourselves that we learn, but for the of other people. Make us